Hey everyone, this is a Midori Hibino and it is such a hard planner to find, and if you've managed to get one, then well done. It took a long time for me to finally get my hands on this. So before I get started, I want to let you know that I'm putting chapters and like timestamps on this video, so you can skip around to whatever information you're looking for. All right, so this is an A6 size, 2-page per day planner from Midori. It has 768 pages. That is a lot of pages. And so I have questions about this paper. I've heard people say it's Tomoe River, and in like almost every listing, it just says like thin paper. It just says like thin diary paper. So I don't feel like it's Tomoe River, but I am not going to say anything for sure in this video, and I'll talk about that when I get to the paper part of this video. I love Midori brand, and aesthetically, I prefer it over Hobonichi. Like, these are pretty similar. This is the Hobonichi 5-year, and I just find this to be so much more beautiful than this cover. You know, personal preference, but there you have it. So I bought this for $63. I happened to buy this from Yoseka. I'll talk about that later as well. So it's $63, and for something comparable as far as just like size and the amount of pages and everything, this 5-year, if you were to buy it now, is $61. This one has a few more spreads than this does. So I actually think $63, although that's expensive, I do think it's a fair price comparing it to similar items. So let's just start from the outside and work our way in. Like I said, I love this cover. I have it in the Camel color. It comes in one other color, blue-green. And I am actually gonna link a video below by Books and Big Hair. She has a video about hers in the blue-green, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. This is a vinyl, like PVC material for the cover. So when I saw this in pictures, I actually thought it looked like suede leather kind of, and I was wondering if it had a nap to it. It does not. So it does feel like plastic, not unlike both of these. This is the Midori 1-day, 1-page diary, but all these covers, they feel kind of similar. There's obviously differences in texture. And from what I gather, the texture on these vary from cover to cover, so you know, that's fun and interesting. You have lighter spots and then like concentrations of wrinkles in certain areas. So this has gold foil stamping on the front. It says 2023 with the open book and Hibino. It's so beautifully simple. I love it. And then on the spine, it has 2023 with the open book as well. Nothing on the back, and that's really it for the cover. And I want to compare the thickness. So I don't know how fair this is going to be, because I got this in 2019 and this in 2019, and they've all been used pretty heavily, so they're not as thin as they started out, but I think they're all very comparable. If I kind of squish these, maybe you can tell, but the Hibino is like ever so slightly thicker than the both of these. So I'm gonna do a cover try on later, but I'm pretty sure that any covers that fit these two books are gonna fit this as well. The one thing I will point out that I notice is different is that the plastic on the spine is not glued down to the actual paper there. In both of these, they're glued down. So I thought that was interesting. I don't think it gives this the ability to lay any flatter. And I guess I'll go ahead and just mentioned the lay flat design. It doesn't, it doesn't lay flat, but it's just because it has so many pages. And I think if you're familiar with either of these two books, these do not lay very flat either. They're always going to have like a bit of a hump because of the thickness of them and because the plastic is interfering on the spine. But I don't feel like this is any different. You can bend it back and break it in, and it's going to get fairly flat, but it's not going to be, for example, like this, how this one will lay completely flat, but it has this exposed spine, and it's just made to go all the way 180, you know what I mean? So this one is not, but I don't think that's much of a deal breaker, especially if you're used to either of these. Okay, so let's talk about this paper. I have heard this being called Tomoe River Paper 52 GSM in the cream color. So first things first, it feels completely different just to the touch than any of the Tomoe River paper that I have. So this is a 2023 Hobonichi Weeks. This is a 2022 Fleurir Lab, and this uses 52 GSM Tomoe River. And then this is the 5-year, which again uses the 52 cream Tomoe River paper. So all three of these feel very similar. There's this weird kind of tiny bumpy texture to it. And the only reason I noticed that is because it's absent in the Hibino paper. And I don't know what that means. This paper feels distinctly different than all of the books with Tomoe River. So that's my first hang up. The next, and I wasn't even gonna do this, but I did a really quick and rudimentary pen test here. I just wanna concentrate on two of these items. So the first thing is this vintage Waterman's Flex Nib with Noodler's 54th Massachusetts. So this ink is really notorious for me to bleed through like just about everything. So but it doesn't bleed through Tomoe River, not like anything else. Tomoe River really holds up against it quite well. So it bled through the Hibino paper. This line and this line is the vintage Waterman with the Noodler's 54th. And you can see it bleeding all kinds of through that thing. So it doesn't hold up like it does here on Tomoe River paper. And in the Weeks, I did it as well. Here it is. And it actually laid a really thick amount of ink on that first line, and it did really well, as I expected. It performed as I expected on Tomoe River. And then even in this 5-year, because they've changed Tomoe River so many times, I don't know what version is which, but I know this is the original. So there it is, and there it is there. So it does really well. I mean, obviously there's shadowing, but this one performed kind of bad with that. And then the one other thing I want to point out is the Pilot Coletto gel pen in 0.5. I have it in here. This is like my preferred gel pen. You can see it right here. And there is a little bit of bleed through just on the stopping points of that pen. And basically I put it here. It's this up here. There's no bleed through, none at the stopping points. And it's the same with all these other ones. There it is up here. Yep. And then also in the 5-year. So here it is here. And it did very well. So I am really confused as to what this paper is. And in most of the listings that I have seen, it only says thin paper or thin diary paper. Jetpens has it listed as Midori thin paper. I have no idea. When I go to the Midori website and I translate this, like the descriptions, when I translate those, it says Tomoe, but it translates it as Tomoe bar or Tomoe barber. I don't know what that means. So I am not going to definitively say what I think this paper is. It feels different to me. The color though is almost like exactly the same as the cream in all of these other planners, in the Weeks, in the 5-year, and then in this Fleurir Lab. I mean, I don't know how well that's going to pick up on camera, but there just doesn't seem to be much of a difference when it comes to that cream color. They seem to blend pretty seamlessly to me. But the performance, I don't know, man, that's kind of questionable. Okay, so since we're in here, I'm going to talk about this grid size. It is practically microscopic, and I love it. I'll tell you why. This grid is 2.5 millimeters, which is so tiny. I've never seen a planner or anything with this small of a grid. But the reason I love it is because all you have to do is use 2 boxes and you get 5 millimeter. And that is my preferred line spacing. So I'm glad this takes the guesswork out of that for me. In most of the Hobonichi products, their grid is 3.7 millimeter, and I kind of hate it. But what I end up doing is I actually use 3 of the squares for 2 lines of writing. And if you do the math, it makes my 2 lines of writing about 5.5 millimeters. And that's as close as I can get. But I can feel that extra 0.5. Like sometimes I just feel like it's a bit too much room when I'm writing. I just like the way my handwriting looks better in 5 millimeter. So I appreciate that I didn't have to do math for this. I just used 2 boxes and I'm good to go. So this has bookmarks. Midori loves to put bookmarks in everything. So this has like a really dark hunter green and then a brown. I don't like bookmarks. I don't use them. I cut my bookmarks out of all of my Hobonichi stuff, but I always end up keeping them in the Midori ones. I don't know why. They're always just such pretty colors. So let's go ahead and do a flip through of the layout in here. I love this planner so much because it does not have any informational pages. I personally find those really useless in any of my planners. I never use them. So we have a dark brown end paper there, a little header page, and then this overview of the calendars for 2023 and then 2024. And then a future log for the whole year. And each one of these sections has a grid. The tiny little 2.5 millimeter grid, but there's a grid there nonetheless. I really love that. And I love that the grid is all over everything. In Midori planners, they tend to like leave it blank like this. I have to have guidelines when I'm writing to keep my handwriting straight, but I am so excited that this one is fully gridded. There is a blank margin up at the top. It is a Monday start, as is kind of usual with Japanese planners. Very, very simple layout. I really love it. So it starts December 22 and goes all the way to January of 2024. But the daily pages, which start right after, have, they start January 1st of 2023. And this goes all the way to December 31st. So you get the whole year, and it's a 2-page spread. You get the date up here, some weather icons, 2 lines up there, and then you get hours starting at 4, and then it goes all the way to 24, and then 1 through 4 is at the bottom there. And there are some delineating features in here, like this dark line on the left side, and there are these little dots around the edge that you can use if you're trying to break up this page in any way. And then you get a calendar overview over here. And I love that these grids on the right side, they go all the way to the edge, all the way around. I think that's really cool. I don't really think it matters that much in the end, but it doesn't do that on this side. There is a border all the way around just on the left side. And then you get the months delineated over here on the edge. That's the planner. And then you have 4, so after December 31st, there are 4 gridded sheets back here, and then a little personal memo area. And then you have your brown end papers again, and that's it. That's the whole planner. This is why I love Midori. Okay, so let's see what this fits in. I actually have not tried to put it in any covers yet. So first things first, this is a 5-year cover by Hobonichi. I had bought this back in 2019 for this 5-year diary. So let's try it with the Hibino. Everything that I've seen thus far has said that particularly the 5-year covers will fit on the Hibino. All right, so we got one side in. It does feel a bit tighter in there, like there's not a whole lot of extra wiggle room, not like when I have the 5-year in here. It fits without bowing out like that. I think it will work though. Yeah, I think you could make it work. You could definitely train it and break it in. You know, this is slightly thicker, so you know, it's not going to be like exactly perfect, I don't think. This is the only actual 5-year cover that I have for this book, so I'm not sure if any of the other ones are going to fit better, if the leather version is going to have a slightly better fit. I can just feel when I put this in and I try to close it, there's just like a little bit more resistance than when I use this book in this cover. This is a Hobonichi, this is just a regular A6 cover. So, let's see. Oh boy, that is acting like it does not want to close. But again, I think this is something you can actually fudge. Let's try to zip it up. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's like really, really forcing it. Oh boy. Yeah, so, oh, that looks wonky. I mean, it will close, but don't dare bulk it up at all. Yeah, or add anything else to it. So that's how that looks. This is definitely not gonna fit like a regular A6. Let me go get it. Okay, I have this one, which is the butterfly closure A6 from Hobonichi. I do not think this is gonna fare well at all, but let's try. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yep, that says, yep. That's how it works in a regular Hobonichi A6 cover. It does not like that at all. Okay. Oh my goodness. It was stuck in there. All right. So where to buy this? So I got mine from Yoseka. Let me just first say, as of me filming this right now, Jetpens has released their stock on their website. So, you know, get your ninja fingers and go over there and get one if you've been hunting this planner. And I have no idea like how much stock they have. I signed up for their email notification and I didn't even get that. I was just randomly on their site and like to find a link to put in this video and they were just on there. So I don't know what's going on. From what I have gathered, Midori apparently had some sort of production issue, and basically all the ones that they had made were all the ones that were gonna be made. They weren't doing any more restocking or making any more. Even the actual Midori store is sold out and says that's kind of it. Good luck and find another third-party seller that might have these in stock. Other than Jetpens, the only other thing I can suggest is to do an internet search for Midori Hibino 2023 and just see what pops up, because there are all kinds of random shops that are getting them in, and some of them, like I'm in the US, but I know some people are buying from international shops that are getting their stock in. So just do that, do a random internet search and just see what pops up. But I bought mine at Yoseka. So what happened is Yoseka did a pre-order, and that pre-order like came and went, and it wasn't even enough time for me to consider how I would incorporate a planner like this into my system. And it was gone, and I had signed up for their restock notification, even though I had known there's really technically not going to be any restocks. But what happened is I got a restock email because I guess Yoseka got their pre-order in and then they had extra. So they sent out the restock notification to sell those extra. And what happened is I accidentally signed up for the blue-green one. And I got that email for the blue-green and I knew I wasn't going to buy it because I definitely wanted the camel. I saw the email 2 hours after it was sent and it was all sold out anyway. And so I thought, well, let me just test fate or tempt fate and sign up for the Camel notification. And about like a week later or something, I got a restock notification for this. I saw that email 2.5 hours after it was sent and I was like, well, I'm out of luck, you know? And it was in stock. So I bought this really fast and in 30 minutes it was sold out. So I hate when these kinds of things happen, because then decision making for me gets really jumbled because I'm like, I'm gonna miss out, and I don't like having that as part of my decision making process. But I just feel like it forces me to make a faster decision. I don't know if I'm really explaining it that well, but let me just tell you how I do plan on using this. So I am currently using this Fleurir Lab. It's basically a daily to-do list. So it's obviously not fancy or anything. I am literally just writing a list. So I will be doing this in here. I suppose on this left side will be my daily list. And then on the right side, I'm going to incorporate my journaling. This is what I'm currently using as my journal. It's an Ehon Note. So basically both of these are just going to be absorbed in here. I've been wanting to do this for a while where I incorporate my journaling into a restricted area like this. So I'm going to see how that goes because I'm just not wanting to do long form journaling much anymore, but I do want to capture those bits that happen during the day, and I don't do that anywhere else. And so I'm glad to have it like as an all-in-one thing for both of these books. And this is something I think I'm just gonna have like laying out like this because, you know, I'm constantly gonna be jotting things in here. You know, so I say now, so we'll see how that pans out. I actually do not want to put a cover on this, you know, because it's so pretty. I'm gonna leave it like this, which is the reason I chose the brown. It just goes with the rest of my leather covers and everything. So I think this is just gonna be a really pretty addition to my whole setup. Anyway, if you manage to get one, let me know. We can like high five each other. Let me know if you do have any questions. That was really all I had to share, but you know, definitely let me know if there's something in particular you were curious about. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.